This episode of Into the Torus is brought to you by Sane Hood. At Sane Hood, they make meditation easy, intuitive, and fun through their groundbreaking technology called FlowAI. FlowAI, developed from the ground up, can detect when a person enters flow state and can assign a sane score for each meditation session so that people can track their progress over time to see their improvements. Also, they can earn crypto tokens while they meditate. Check out sanehood.com. It's free to use for the world because meditation is the answer to helping people find peace and purpose. Into the Torus is also brought to you by Children of the Night. Children of the Night is a privately funded nonprofit organization established in 1979 with the specific purpose to provide intervention in the lives of children who are sexually exploited and vulnerable to or involved in prostitution and pornography. Children of the Night is the only place in America where a child can call from a seedy motel or truck stop anywhere in the United States. Reach a skilled caseworker 24/7 who knows how to rescue and relocate a child or young person from a dangerous condition without being arrested by the police. Their 24/7 nationwide toll-free case management services are comprehensive and able to help anyone trapped on the streets of our nation. Please consider making a donation to Children of the Night by visiting their website, www.childrenofthenight.org/donate. This episode of Into the Torus is brought to you by Genetic Protocol. Genetic Protocol offers the most advanced systems-based genetic analysis with circadian and diet protocols for achieving health and peak performance. Genetic Protocol offers personalized DNA testing for your path to optimal health. Their exclusive Genetic Protocol panel identifies 55 SNPs and includes a full report with strategic lifestyle, nutrient, environment, and supplement protocols. Specific risks, if any, will be identified and environmental issues to avoid will be listed. Visit geneticprotocol.com to get started today. Quang-Vu, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's
Awesome.
a beautiful day.
It is. We're creeping into winter, but we had a little heat roll in Ojai, and it's trying to make up its mind what season we're going to move into.
Yeah, well, nature is fickle. It'll swing back and forth. It's like a door.
Yeah. Quang-Vu Dang, first guest here into the Torus, episode 1. Thanks for joining us on this show. It's going to be a new venture, something different than what I'm used to doing behind the camera.
Right.
But we met a couple years ago. I'd say March, April, springtime 2020.
Yeah.
At the local watering hole in town. And then we did a lot of sitting and doing a lot of meditation and breathing. And I love meditation. I've been doing it since I was about 17, 18 years old. And it's been an integral part of just staying in balance and life and trying to keep sane. You have a unique way of approaching it. You have a branded sane hood almost approach to doing it. So, I was just really drawn to that when you invited me to your weekly meditations. Where did a meditation begin for you?
Well, it started when I was 9 or 10. So we were immigrants. And as poor immigrants, we, of course, look a lot different from the local wildlife. And so sometimes we get picked on. Mm-hmm. And after a couple of times of coming home and getting jumped by a bunch of kids, or in school, my brother and we would get jumped. My dad got tired of it, and so he sent all 3 kids to Taekwondo. And this was in Atlanta, I guess, in 1989 or so. Yeah, 1989. And so before, since, they have a children's class and an adult class, and children's class is basically daycare because, one, look at that, my dad said, well, I don't want to go there. don't want to send my kids there. So we went to the more evening from 7 to 8, the adult class. And before martial arts, before we start, we would sit for a minute or two. And after practice, when we calm down, and we would sit a couple minutes, and then we would leave. And so the meditation is basically just to reflect and to calm down. And when you come in, prepare for the class, prepare for combat, and then after that, return to your normal thing. So I did that for 3-4 years. And then I continue when I got to college. I did some Kung Fu with a Vietnamese Kung Fu master. And we learned a lot about energy, the chi and the movement and the control. And it's just not about force, physical force, but it's our internal force. So when you learn with somebody like that who is also your buddy, you hang out and you drink beer with, they teach you the more intricate, the real stuff. They don't hold back. You can ask them and they reveal. Whereas with the Taekwondo, it was more Americanized. They don't teach the mindset or the instinct to kill or do great damage, because that's a huge liability,
Right.
So in the college stuff, we have a couple of martial arts masters, very well versed in Vietnam. They went to school and they start discussing different ways to counter and attack, and the training and putting soft in your arm so it doesn't hurt, because we don't wear gloves.
Right.
So.
And your immigration, you came from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And what was it like kind of transitioning from life in Vietnam to here in America?
When I came here I left Vietnam when I was 7.
Okay.
Didn't really know my dad. He left when I was 2. So when I got off the plane, he got into a car, and I still was calling him uncle.
Oh my goodness.
Hey. Then my mom was like, "Well, that's not your uncle, that's your dad," and call him father, and then that. But didn't speak a word of English. Watched a lot of TV, cartoon, and translated stuff. As a kid, I picked up language a lot faster, because the brain was so malleable.
Right.
And I was supposed to be in 3rd grade, but since my language skill was too limited, I got pushed back to 2nd grade. Whatever. Yeah, but the transition was it was fun. Getting used to seeing white people, because we've never seen white people, black people, and for a while we thought all the white people look alike. It's like, that's this guy walking around the window again. He just did that half an hour ago. Why is he walking around that way? So that was pretty interesting until we grew up and start recognizing faces. And so coming from Asia,
right,
and coming from here, I can recognize faces a lot more than people here and going to another place. Yeah.
And so coming to America, what part of the country did you first start out in?
In Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Southern boy.
Oh my goodness.
All this attitude is from the South.
And the barbecue skills.
Yeah, the grilling skill.
Right.
They used to call me Grill Master Vu.
Grill Master Vu. So Vu is Quang-Vu first name or first middle?
Quang-Vu is first name.
Okay.
Quang is an adjective of Vu.
I see.
So if you see Vietnamese guys with double names, 2 names like that, you can use the second portion of the name, but you can't use the first. It's like...
Okay. So we can say, hey, Vu.
Yeah. But
Okay.
you can't say Quang because that's an adjective, so it's not a noun, right?
And is there a special meaning behind
Quang, if you, that's Quang Yin, the goddess of mercy or light. So Quang is the same definition, enlighten. And Vu means strength, so it's enlightened strength.
Enlightened strength. It's a beautiful combo.
Thanks. Gotta thank my mom for that.
Shout out to Vu's mom. So that initial meditation that you would do before Taekwondo, that must have been pretty helpful. I'd imagine coming into a martial arts class, there's a lot of like pent up energy. Oh, I'm going to learn to, either defend myself or learn attack poses. And and that probably grounded you a bit before you got, learning kicks and punches and different aspects of that martial art.
Yeah, it's just a reset, just preparing the mindset. We all need transition, otherwise we freeze up
Right.
a little bit. So that's just a good transition point.
And your education and that background, you are now very savvy with technology, and you're a data analytics.
I call myself a scientist, data
Scientist.
but that's such a broad term. Why not, right?
Right.
Everybody else is calling themselves, and a lot of the scientists, it's like, why not?
What spurred you to get into that? Was it in your high school years, or where did you?
It was before high school, elementary school.
Elementary school.
Yeah, so I went to a magnet school, and so it's really, they call it the M2M program, majority to minority. So they ship all these white kids to black schools and vice versa to get some diversity.
Right.
But the people in the magnet program do have better teachers, and they have their own separate labs. And so
you had a great environment of resources
And the kids who went to my school, they came from a very rich area, and so they were pretty savvy. Their parents are pretty savvy as well. So
wow. And when you were in high school, after doing the martial arts, how long did that martial arts Taekwondo practice last for you?
I think 3.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
So when you were in high school, you weren't doing it so much?
No, we figured out there's a couple of moves you need to make. If you can't execute them, or if they don't go down,
right.
Then you just run. Yeah, but in high school, like everything, you win some fights, you lose some fights. Overall, it's just you build character, and that's fine.
I went to a technology school, so our fights. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Our fights basically were keyboard fights over the head in the computer class, and it was like Dungeons and Dragons, and they'd flip the board up if they got mad. And,
Oh yeah.
But when would you say you started to take meditation more seriously?
I would say around 26, 27.
Okay.
I was living in Naples, Florida. I got a pretty nice gig. I couldn't find a job in Atlanta, so Craigslist, man.
Yeah.
It was meant to be, right? And I'll tell you a little bit how I got that job. But there were classes at some centers or in Naples, and they would have people leading it. And so I went to a few of those, learned a little bit more, started reading a little bit more, but didn't take as serious. But I remember I used to daydream quite a bit. So
right.
I was able to blank my mind, quite relax quite a bit. So I would say it's a gift.
Right. In your daydreams, were you kind of going in and out of like focused breathing, or
there was no breathing, just like looking up at the sky or listening or sitting somewhere, imagining things and seeing the possibilities.
right?
Those kind of the daydreams.
Yeah.
But then I was in Naples, did a little bit of that. Moved to Nashville, didn't do too much, but I was still reading quite a bit. And in Nashville, I got since I'm a musician and I would say I fall in and out of love, daydreaming and all that stuff all the time. And I was like, man, this thing sucks. It's, just it's all the creation of my mind. Right. And so I got into Stoic philosophy, and that kind of said, well, that's their problem. Don't take anything on,
Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personally.
Yeah.
It's not your problem. Never did it. But that also closed up an avenue of care because if you think everything is other people's problems and you have your own problems to worry about, you don't really care about what happens to other people, right?
Right.
Until I got into Portland and I got just understanding a lot more. But I would say the catalyst was after the divorce or going through the breakup with my ex.
Right.
And that was that allowed me to really spend a lot of time alone, knowing to love somebody and not having them around, and having to deal with a lot of my childhood issues, which if anybody made it through childhood without an issue, I mean, I applaud them.
Yeah.
But chances are most people, no matter how perfect the family is, people develop something just in their mind, right?
Right. Everybody has that worst thing that's happened to them.
Yeah, and unless it's dealt with, but as a kid, how do you know this will stick with you?
Right.
So I have abandonment issue because of my father leaving, and then being an immigrant kid, always being chosen last.
Right.
So want to fit in, and then when I have something I hold on to too much, and then she has growing up, it wasn't a very strict.
Your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Right.
Family, a religious family, and so when she was able to spring the nest, or she did. So when she feels somebody's getting like that, her impulse was to run away, and so you see how that the subconscious work to attract people, so we can actually deal with those things.
Yeah,
so
you get thrown into these vulnerable positions, and it's like you're swimming in like this unknown part of the pool. It's like, oh, I don't feel the ground below me, and yeah, a lot of people's natural reaction is to just freak out.
Yeah,
and
but we are causing that. We attract the same type of people until we no longer subconsciously look for those people.
Right.
So until we deal with that, we'll forever attract the same people. Or the pendulum swings so much over here. It's like, oh, I'll break up. I got separated from my partner. I don't want to date this same person.
Right.
So you go all the way over here. It swung so far, but the issue is still there until people deal with that.
Yeah. It's like just like a ghost that haunts you.
Yeah, it never goes away until we created it. So we have to really chisel away at the sediments that built up through our lives. And if we don't deal with it, more and more added to it.
Yeah.
And then it takes over our life, becomes so big that we can't flow.
Yeah.
But we recognize that we got to chip it until it becomes down here, until it's clean, until it doesn't impede our flow.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of my breakups, that they allowed the cracks, and it's like, oh, I'm broken, but it's like when your heart is broken or you feel broken, they say that is like the optimal time for light to come in, because it finds those cracks and it works its way into you. And if you're not receptive to that, you'll just keep repeating and attracting those same people and not growing from it.
Indeed. Yeah, so we were together a very short time, a few years, and then a long breakup. The love was there, just a lot of other things around it that we couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
And so in order to deal with that, I started reading. We had a marriage counselor, and it's like, oh, okay. So I started reading quite a bit more. She recommended some books, and I read it. So, oh, this is really good. And I got back to meditation because I found out, even before we broke up, I was meditating a lot. And now I'd redouble, triple, like 4, 5, 6 times a day, but not long, but 10, 15 minutes. When I go on lunch break, I would do it. When I have some time at the chair, I would sit 5, 10 minutes, just like doing push-ups throughout the day. It adds those things add up.
And what is this style of meditation that's become part of your routine?
So I've gravitated towards Vipassana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of other different techniques, visualization and so on, and move, like yogic meditation.
Right. What is Vipassana? What are some of the core traditions of Vipassana
Yeah,
style?
you think mindfulness meditation,
Okay.
that's another name for Vipassana. Or you can being present, being here, and so on. That's Vipassana.
Okay.
So Vipassana is the original form that the Buddha taught in about 2,500 years ago. And the core principle of it is that all the problems, all the thought stuff is internally is caused by us. We conjure, we make all those things up. And it's only that we can remove them. Other external factors can't control our mind, can't go in and, and
There's no app for that.
there's no app. There's no app. It's we created it. We have what we create. We have to uncreate. And so Vipassana is journey into the self, right? It's a solo journey. It's hard. It's a one-man show, a monologue, going up the mountain without a Sherpa.
Yeah.
It's not a bus tour where you can get 20 people to help you out, right? It's just you have to do the work because you caused the problem internally.
But you do encounter these characters along the way that help steer you into that direction.
Yeah, but when the meditation is, there's no one to really, you have to sit down, meditate. You can go to a group and meditate, and that's great, but you have to still close your eyes and do that internal work,
Right.
bring up unhappy memories, or you bring up every time and you observe how it's affecting the body, your body.
Right.
And then you focus on that and you dissolve those sensations. When you focus on something, things change, right? It's like we spoke about this earlier. If I look at that glass right there, it changes me because now I'm thinking about it.
Right.
And it changes my thought process. But we also change it because we're directed energy at it. We may move it in a bit or so on. So things are changing. It's always a two-way street. So when we focus on the sensations, that uncomfortable sensation, we actually dissolve it. And in the process of dissolving that, it also alleviates our mind as well. It lightens it. So no longer when we bring up that image, our mind doesn't react, our body doesn't react, right? So it's
like a
process.
mental concrete that seems to come in and come around some of these issues that we carry with us. And so you're kind of saying that meditation is kind of like a way to soften that concrete and let those issues kind of naturally move through us and maybe out and overcome them.
Yeah, so my analogy is, and I have it in the book.
Oh, you got a book.
I do have a book.
Whoa, look at that. It's right here. Forever Unfolding from the Heart.
Yeah.
Amazing. And realizations through meditation. So what prompted you to create this book?
So since my meditation, since the divorce, since the travel, since meeting so many people, and just my own personal learning path, some of those things took 40 years to realize. Some of them took maybe a couple months to realize. And I was like, if somebody were to put something concrete like this down, I may not agree with it at the time, but I will have it stored up here, and then it'll be a lot faster and easier.
Like planting seeds.
Yeah,
almost.
indeed.
Yeah.
And so I just want to share with people some of the realizations that I have had along the way, so that if they come up to a similar situation, they have something to fall back to, or it may open up a path for them to dig deeper into.
Right.
So I wrote that during the pandemic, 4 months. I would wake up and go to Coffee Connection in Miners Oaks because it's the only place that allow people to sit inside during that time. I would write for an hour and a half until I have to go back to work. And from August to December, I did it, and then get help, added on, subtracted editing, got some people to help. Some people cost more work than it was, but then I let it rest for a year. And I read it again and to see if it still made sense. And I think it makes sense. And I did market testing. I sent a manuscript to a bunch of people, and the boys, you can't get them to read. But women under 35, some of them couldn't put it down. They would read it all in a day, and it's about 2 hours, or if you're a fast reader, an hour. But books like this or texts like this, you want to think and reflect upon it rather than read like a romance novel.
Yeah. Let it simmer slowly.
Yeah, so women from 23 to 35, they really like it. And I think it has something to do with the age of Aquarius or the searching, and some of it really, if they haven't been exposed to it, really speak to them. So it turns out that it's for women. But Chris, German Chris, he got a book and he read it and he really loved it too. So
Chris is one of your friends
in
town?
Yeah.
And he comes to the meditations?
Yeah.
And, for folks, where could they find this book? Where you wrote it, you edited it, you published it yourself?
Yeah, because things keep changing, and I want to maintain some control over if I want to add content, I want to add pictures, whatever. I want to be able to have that. And publishing it through Amazon is pretty cool. You can just upload another draft, and since it's print on demand, so the new draft will be reflected on it.
So it just updates. You can update it, make little tweaks.
Yep.
Go in, add page numbers if you want. Or
Modernize this, fix the margin a little bit because you don't see it until it's done, right? So
the world of the internet, it's just pretty amazing what, when you have all these life experiences and there's an outlet or a platform to then share that out. Which kind of brings me, to... I'm very curious about, you have this other project going on right now.
Right.
And it's also involving meditation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so about 7 years ago, when I was living in LA, I had a breakthrough through meditation. I saw that everything is perfect. This is what described in text. Everything's perfect. If I were to look at you, you would be glowing with energy, vibrating with energy. Looking at that object, any living and non-living, animate and non-animate objects would vibrate with life force, with life, with energy, and nothing was out of place. And I would sit there and I was just so happy. I couldn't do any work because everything was just so beautiful, and it just...
And that was just
perfect.
From sitting?
For meditation. I would just... Everywhere I look is exactly... I can see the birds, I can see the animals, and feel like if I go into a room or see to a place, I can tell what kind of place this is. I can look at a person and tell if that person is still journeying, going through, finding what it is about them or their life, or if another person is along the path, or if there's a patient has a lot of anger. Never spoken a word, but everybody has that feel, that vibe that the conscious and the subconscious produce. You can't hide.
This isn't a common thing that happens to everybody.
No. So this breakthrough, and then I have to come back because I have to work. And it lasted like a week or two, so I have to come back and stop meditating because it was interfering with my daily life. And the calming down of it is not like drinking alcohol. It's not like doing mushrooms. Nothing. I mean, this thing would last for weeks.
Wow.
Continuously, right? And that's one of the... that's what I had. And so when I came up here and I realized my personal purpose in life is to help people find peace and purpose through meditation. And the meditation is the delivery vehicle that can allow them to do that, because it's given me so much. And the way that we've been taught, or the way meditation is taught, is helpful, but it's ineffective to reach people on a global scale or in mass.
Right.
Because usually you have to go to some place and sit with a bunch of people, or go to a retreat, 10-day silent meditation. That's great, but you can only do so much. There's so much room, and there's usually wait lists for months and months and months.
It's a very kind of a club environment almost. There's no big radio shows or TV shows that are teaching people meditation.
You could go on YouTube, but the way that I start looking at how is it taught, you read. I read all these articles, YouTube and all this thing, and it's like people just don't know what it is. And they're just going around copy and paste and putting an article together. I'm like, sit by yourself in a dark room in a corner and close your eyes and do that 15, 20 minutes a day. How many people can actually do that? Being by yourself and solitary, that's the worst punishment a human can experience.
Now, can it happen if I go on a walk, or if I go hiking, or if I'm working out? Like, is there still that same benefit versus just sitting still?
So you have different types of meditation. You can, and it gets really involved. Yeah. But you can. Everything can be meditation as long as you focus. So meditation is really focusing the brain.
But it's also like it's like a gentle focus. It seems like if you're really zoned in on something, you might not be able to have that awareness of other things too.
Right. So biologically, we evolve in a group to a social setting. Right. So in order to function in a social setting, we have to have empathy, or we have to know, see ourselves in other people's shoes.
We have to care about others.
Yeah, we have to. So we have to imagine what it's like if we do this. How do people respond? All this narrative. So over time, we have this thing what the neuroscientists call default mode network, which is the monkey mind.
Default mode network.
Yeah.
It's just like autopilot.
You close your eyes, you can hear the voices and different scenarios, right? Yeah. And so there is another mechanism in the brain that when a person focuses on something, it clamps down the mode network, so we can focus on something, And that's basically a muscle. You can train that. And so what meditation really, in a sense, the basic sense, is being able to train this part of the brain to be working subconsciously. And so once we clamp down on the default mode network, we can achieve more steady state. We don't get too emotional up or low. We can, but we'll return because this muscle is working in the background. We could return to steady state, to equilibrium, a lot faster than if we don't have this muscle helping us. So you look at monks or nuns or people who meditate like 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours. They may get excited, but then they calm. They return baseline a lot faster. Yeah. Equanimity, I think that's what it's called.
Equanimity?
Yeah, and so that's the science behind it, right? The achieving, you don't really achieve enlightenment through meditation. It's realization that allows you to...
aha moments.
Yeah, when you realize some a truth, it changes your brain. It changes your brain because now you're thinking, you're seeing the world from that point of view.
It's almost like a key unlocking.
And the more you see from that thing, more energy, more realizations you get. So it's like a process forever unfolding. Yeah, it's like a function of knowledge, right? The more you have knowledge, the more you gain more knowledge.
Yeah.
The Vipassana part is just helping a person gain mastery over mind and body in that sense. And while doing so, in order to gain mastery, you got to dissolve all this unwelcome. People say, well, I love and I do, whatever, but you suffer.
Mm-hmm.
You come up and you come down, and people say, well, that's part of living, but you're enjoying it. You're here for the last 20, 30 years. Has anything really changed? Are you still, looking for something, wanting something?
Right.
That's my counter to for people who say, whatever. But
the meditation's not something that would help them,
or it removes the humanity, or they want to feel the things. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But how much of that is controlling the life?
Right.
How much unwelcome emotions are leaking in?
How dependent are you on those experiences for your happiness?
Yeah. So in a sense, meditation removes a lot of you. This is a clear class, right? But you take this glass to the river and get the water. That's you before meditation, before focusing internally.
Mm-hmm.
The more you sit, the more. Well, let me back up.
Yeah.
If you want to remove the debris and it's swirling all around, it's kind of hard, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you sit still and let all the debris and dirt and stuff sink to the bottom. And then you can remove the things that are hanging on top a lot easier because it's suspended there. And then as you work your way down, a lot of stuff is sunk to the bottom, so you can pick and choose what you want to work on. Or you shake a little bit and things come up and you do it. So that's why people sit in silent, so that things can bubble up, things can settle out down, but also come up.
Well, some of our listeners might be noticing you have a very entrancing way of communicating. What was the shift from doing meditation on your own to what made you want to lead and facilitate group meditations?
Yeah, so I started teaching people since learning and reading quite a bit about what is effective and what is not effective in meditation. Right. So there is a science component behind all of this. So I start offering to people that if they want to learn meditation or jump their practice, come talk to me, and I will sit for 3 sessions, 3 different days, because science has shown that you do those 3 days, your body remembers, and the positive.
Consecutive days, day after day.
Yep.
Yeah.
The positive of it, you can be measurable for days, if not weeks.
Wow.
So that's why 3 days. And the other part is commitment.
Mm-hmm.
My time is so valuable, at least to me.
For sure.
That I don't want to just go in one session, people cancel on me, right?
Yeah.
So with the group meditation, I was like, well, maybe I can bring more people to it and make it a lot easier. What we do is kind of beginners, and sometimes I throw stuff in, but it's just it's designed for that 1 hour. That you're going to have the best 1 hour of the week, because that's all you. And with the breathing and the focusing and all that stuff that we do, it's just designed to calm you down and then get some joy and relax your body so that you can be in a state that we are supposed to be in.
And what day of the week are you doing these on?
So every Wednesday at 7 p.m. in Ojai, I have the studio.
Okay.
On Bryant Street. If you're in town, let us know.
So hump day.
Hump day.
So that's like the middle of the 5-day work week.
Yeah.
You know, you had Monday, Tuesday. Everybody hates Mondays. And then Tuesday, a little bit better. But then Wednesday, you're starting to feel the grind settle in.
Yeah.
So was there intention behind Wednesdays? Was it just good for your schedule?
No, I mean, I set my own schedule, but Wednesday just seems like the right day. It also, people start to feel the stress from Monday
Yeah.
and Tuesday and the kids or whatever.
All the grind.
All the grind, and now here it's like getting a massage for your brain and internal organs, right? So you can feel good and to make it through the next few days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very intentional which day I.
And that started shortly after you finished this book?
Yeah, about 5 months later. Yeah. Rented a studio and just, I was inviting a lot of people to it. But no, I don't. I still invite people, but I don't really care that much if they come or not.
So it's open. It's open to whoever finds it appealing to incorporate in their life.
Yeah, it's a service. I gain nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I gain feedback on how effective the technique is, and that's great. But there's no financial gain. There's no personal gain for me.
Sometimes it's people bring not the best energy too.
Yeah, and it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Actually. And
how is it difficult for you to? I mean, obviously there's transformations. People come in. Oh, it's been a rough week, and they sit, and they may overcome some of that instability.
And sometimes they don't.
And sometimes they don't. That good and bad feedback. Do you feel sensitive to that energy?
No, I don't. I mean, I see it.
Yeah.
But I don't care. It's not my problem. I empathize. I can't. I'm not them. I don't know. I wouldn't react the same way as they do.
You showed them some tools that maybe that can help them. So you did your part.
Yeah. That I care, but
right.
I can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
If they want to, they know what to do. We all know what to do. You don't like the job. You don't like your boss telling you what to do. Then go tell your boss, stop telling me what to do. Deal with it.
Yeah.
We are adults. You don't like the job, quit.
If you miss the sun, move below the equator line.
Yeah. or just there's a sunrise tomorrow. What's to be upset about? But they know that during that 1 hour is their time. Right. And it's a safe space, and nobody's going to question what they do or they didn't do or whatever.
Yeah.
So I might be insensitive to that. I see it, but like I say, I provide, as you say, the tool, the space, everything for them to do it. And if they want to do private, I don't charge either. And some of them have. So.
And that's pretty amazing because there's so many services that you'll pay a monthly fee. There's apps that do, pay $15 a month and you get these meditations. Sometimes it seems like when you pay for something, it helps you commit. But you've kind of found a reverse to that. And part of your calling to draw people to do more meditation, obviously people may listen to this and they're like, where the hell is Ojai? They're Googling it up like, I'm not even on that continent right now.
OJAI.
OJAI.
Yeah, so one of the I know we'll get to sainthood.
We're building it up.
We're building it up, and
that
you guys.
That hype. It's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah, totally. You guys, this is a transformative technology. It hasn't been done, and psychologists they've been trying to get to this for decades, and they have tests, like 26 tests, try to determine flow state, and we figure it out. And so we'll tell you how we figure it out.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear.
Yeah. I was in Northern California. I was living in the Bay Area. I was exploring.
Bay.
Yeah, north in Marin County, right? And there's this, I won't name names, but there was a center. And
meditation center?
Yeah. Where monks live. And I saw, on the sign it says $15 to sit in the main hall. I'm like, really? This is
Like required, not
yeah
donation.
I was like, well, I didn't see donation. It's just $15
Just,
to the main hall.
there's the
I'm like,
price.
wow, that sucks. I mean, what temple or center require money? And I remember I had a job, but it paid well.
Mm-hmm.
Money wasn't a problem. But it turned me off so much that, you know, a lot of the young people who need directions, who are lost and left everything behind, those are the people that need help or need assistance the most.
Yeah.
And they usually don't have money, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, is this is what's turning into? You only get happiness and realization and help if you have money.
Right.
And it was so sour. It turned me away from, I didn't even stop by. I just drove. I didn't go in. I just drove on. And there are a couple other centers up in the Bay, and that I'm not going to name names, but I know there are costs to everything people do, but some of the costs are so extraordinary that I'm saying, how can people can afford it? And
Yeah.
they say, well, we have scholarships. Yeah, but right. And so a lot of these, I understand we need to have money to keep centers, and people need money to live.
Yeah.
But when was the last time those people have like a retreat that's free? Also minimal, or that people can take it.
Right.
I haven't seen them, and it's gotten to a point where only people with means can find themselves, and it just is so wrong to me because the people that have helped me never ask anything from me, right? Mostly through books, through talking, and so I found a lot of these practices to be unsavory to me. So that's why the meditation on Wednesday is free, because I can afford to rent the space. And when people come, the only thing they should worry about is enjoying a good time. Not about money, not about anything. Yeah, they donate, but it doesn't change much in terms of the finance of the studio.
Right.
The other part, and why I also don't charge personal, there was some A-lister that asked me, and there's some rich folks that asked me to negotiate fees. Oh, if I come and I don't like it, can I just pay? I can pay you $3, but can I not attend a second session? Say, no, dude, this is a commitment.
For those one-on-one sessions.
Yeah,
right.
This is commitment. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because I need to. You need to show to me that you can commit. If it's get hard, you don't like it, you got to commit. So they negotiate. I say, no, I don't care. Your money is not going to change my life. Even whatever you pay, it's not going to change my life.
Right.
So when we set out to develop this project called Sainthood, me and a couple other people, we want to transform and reverse what's happening towards in the world where everybody is charging money and so on. We not only will help people meditate, we're going to give something back more, and what our tagline is meditate and earn tokens with FlowAI. So imagine you go on our platform, you get this awesome technology, FlowAI, that can detect your flow state, right? When you enter a flow state, or the Tibetan called Dharmakaya, you basically, meditative flow state is very different from workflow state, but the concept is similar, right? You focus.
Right.
You enter another universe, you create another universe, you lose track of time, you feel no rush. But if you think you're in flow state, you're out of flow state. You do not know when you're in flow state.
When you think you had it.
When you think you had it, you're gone. You can only know after the fact that you do it. You had it.
So there's FlowAI technology in this platform, and what was it? how do you even conceptualize doing that? And how do you conceptualize using AI with this project?
Yeah, so it didn't. The project's not complete because we want to keep building FlowAI, and the goal is to have a personal guru. Since we can detect flow state, we can guide people into flow state, or we can detect when they're out of flow state to get them back in. But it didn't start out like this, right? It started out with, oh, well, I know I was reading tons of research, and combined up personal experiences. First, we want to use device to track biometrics like blood pressure, body temperature, so on, because all this research say, well, brainwave and so on, that when people enter a meditative state, they have these characteristics.
So then I have to get all this hardware and get connected and put all these feedback markers on an Apple Watch.
No, that's the beauty of all of this is touchless sensor. So you just need to open up your phone, turn on selfie mode, or you flip on the camera on your laptop.
Wow.
Yeah, and so when we started out, we were thinking, all right, we're going to build a technology mode with all the sensors,
Right.
Well, it's always been touchless sensors, but there are cameras that can do certain things and algorithms that can do certain things.
Wow.
But as we progress in our development and understanding of it, it's like, hey, we don't need this infrared camera. We don't need a special microphone, to detect
heart rate sensors or
none of that. We can do through my meditation. When I enter flow state, I notice there's a physical change, and we all have physical changes, right? We think, therefore we are. So when we have some in here, something out here is reflected. And then, so we built a bunch of algorithms because it's from personal experience, right? So all right, we're going to build like 5 algorithms out first and see if we can get to measure. And we did.
Wow.
We were about to build like 6 or 7, but since 5 of it was good enough, we didn't spend more time doing other things.
So that's what FlowAI
it combines all like 5 algorithms, and then we have a scoring mechanism that we read all this data. I was meditating, right, about 11 minutes, and I knew I entered flow state twice. And so I was looking through this data, reams and reams of data. I'm a visual analytics by trade, so data science. So I have access to tool and know what I'm doing.
So it's like the 2 strands finally kind of intertwined: your background with data science and analytics, and your love for meditation. Yeah, and now it's combined into this technology.
Indeed, and the way that FlowAI came about. And if we ever had a documentary, and I have to remember, this is 10:30 or something. It's going to be a name. That's when FlowAI was. I saw it.
10:30 in the morning.
In the evening.
And all the magic happens late at night.
Well, it's so weird, right? I was sending a prayer up to the universe. All right, work it out. I need this, because I told my team that by Sunday I'll have something for them. This is a Saturday, right? I'll have something for them. And somehow my guru, he does this transmissions where he'll dial in, and all his students will dial in, and he do his thing.
Dial in
phone
through a phone call.
Yeah, like a conference call.
Okay. And
then he would read, or he would do his teachings and so on. For that day, he did 5 transmissions. I was like, damn, this dude is on today. So I attended all of them.
And does he typically do
Not
how many?
5 transmissions.
Whoa.
Sometimes he does twice a day, and sometimes twice a week, whenever he has energy, or he writes a lot.
So that day just had a special energy to it.
Yeah. And I was been working on this problem for weeks. It's not like I just pulled it up, right? I've been working on it. I said, I knew it's somewhere here and here, right? And then it's like at 10:30, I look at this graph. It's like, hey, this is it. this is the beginning, and here it is. Everything else matched, and here's when I exited. And it was about 15 seconds. And I didn't know this at the time, but the Tibetans, they call it Dharmakaya, and they say it lasts between the state 10 to 15 seconds at a time.
The Tibetans had already kind of did their own analytics on flow state.
Yeah, the Tibetans who, that's what they do in the mountains.
Yeah.
So I saw that, then I said, well, I know I did 2 flows. I hit that, and I searched for it, and that same exact pattern. Right, and then so I start writing the formula down and communicate that to my team, and then Nick Gray, he looked at it and implemented it, and so I would say I came half of the formula, and he made the practical of it work, and then he refined it a little bit. But
and Nick, what's his background in?
he's I think electrical and mechanical engineer, and he's basically rocket aerospace engineer.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And so he kind of helped you work on these formulas and these algorithms and help tie the pieces together.
Yeah, he did the heavy lifting on the math. I did the training for the mood detection, and then I think he redid that. I don't know what he did with it. Maybe make it a little bit lighter, but he did the heavy math, the heart rate, and a few other things that. I'm not that good at math. I'm okay, but
sure.
That's his thing.
And
right?
this was
signals.
and this all came in from a camera looking at you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we can do a lot more. We just haven't have the time or the resources to do so.
Well, it seems like the bones are in place now.
Yeah.
For you to get, launch this thing. What's your goal ultimately with sainthood?
Yeah, so our mission is to inspire 1 billion people to find peace and purpose through meditation.
1 billion?
Yeah.
I'll just do the whole planet.
Well, we want to start small and realistic.
Start small.
Yeah, and so how does it work? So right now we're still implementing the smart contract. There's only 2 of us. There's still a couple bugs to work out. But those are minor. We already worked on a smart contract. We know what to do.
Right.
The bugs seems it's been solved on other platform. It can be solved here.
Mm-hmm.
But we built it everything from the ground up. Wow. So you can go on Sainthood, www.sainthood.com, register, and you're a meditator. You just click meditate, and you can choose different levels. We have 4 levels. And your score is dependent on that's 5 or 6 factors, but what level you choose.
And there's a little comedy in the level choosing. I've heard.
It's keep it a little brief and fun so people can remember. So then you meditate, and then it'll provide a graph, your score over time, and we're going to add more metrics to it and make it look a bit fancier, but that's the basic of it. And eventually we will add gamification, some social media elements, meaning like, you could set up with a group of meditators, your friends, say, hey, let's go on 7 o'clock, and you ping everybody. And
maybe I'll meet my future wife on sainthood.com.
You can. You really do. In order to, I feel, to have a long, fruitful relationship, you need to meet people that are on the path.
Right.
Yeah, if you're here and she's still in samsara and you're like leaving samsara behind, do you really want to go back to samsara, or you want to pull her along? Is she ready?
For those that don't know, samsara is
the worldly desire.
The worldly desires.
The material planes.
I've heard it's also maybe can be called the cycles of suffering, or does that seem accurate?
It can be. I've heard that, but basically it's the worldly desires that we, that the Buddhists call suffering.
The worldly desires.
Yeah.
Right. There's an excellent, one of my favorite films actually is called Samsara.
Yeah.
And it's like no dialogue. It's just cinematic moments all over the globe, and time lapses, aerials, close details. But it was a huge inspiration for my approach in filmmaking and telling stories visually, and that underlying thread of the suffering and the kind of entrenchment that people get into in the world, and it's a common thing we all share. So there's going to be social aspects. It sounds like a Ready Player One, like a crazy video game experience that you guys are about to create. So people can log in right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's live. It works. You don't use your iPhone yet. Well, maybe right now, but it might be fixed within a week.
Maybe by the time this episode airs.
Yeah.
So you're building out, squashing bugs, building in more features, and your ultimate goal is for 1 billion people to get on the platform.
Yeah.
And ultimately get you out of your day job? Or do you still see yourself doing data analytics work with this when it takes off?
Well, one of us or two of us need to focus on this full time. That's a lot of work.
Right.
I haven't been working on it too much because there are a few things that I'm just waiting to get fixed before I continue. If it becomes successful, I want to be the person who goes out there and evangelize this, and show, hey, this is what meditation can do. Through examples, right? Even 10 minutes, 11 minutes is good enough for people to gain that benefits, right?
So I don't need to spend a whole hour on the platform trying.
No, about 12 minutes is good enough if people focus.
And what types of resources are on there for people that may have not ever meditated before?
Yeah, so I have about 30 videos of me talking. I have a 10-day challenge in
Wow.
a couple minutes. Start a couple minutes and we build up to 10, 12 minutes. And then,
Oh, wow.
And a 100-day challenge, I'll have 20 videos up there. I have another 30 somewhere. I may have lost it. But, if you made it to day 40, I'm pretty sure you know what to do. You don't need me to guide you for the rest.
40
right?
days and 40 nights.
Yeah. And so there are videos that you can combine watching that with doing the meditation and see how well you're doing. So it's just like me
so
guiding
you can practice along with the video.
Yeah.
Pull up the app, get that same score simultaneously.
Yep.
And then with more feedback coming down the road, your goal is to have each person be able to have a personal guru.
Yeah. Just think about, when people meditate, they sit and they breathe and they start focusing internally and relaxing. Sometimes drama may come up and they focus their heart and the heart is hurting and suffering. They are in danger of being pulled into that story, into that, that I would say universe. It is a universe, right? And it's hard for people to get pulled back out once they're in there. But if we can see this, we can see your heart rate and pain and movements, and we can start voice prompting or music to pull them out so that they can resume the meditation. So, or if they get
off course.
Yeah, you get too agitated, just take a deep breath, right? Right. A heart raised too high or too low, and
so the balance of the breathing is, if somebody's like really going into that deep end, they can just come back to their breathing.
Yeah, just breathing. It's just not just the breathing, right?
Sure.
It can be. They have to breathe deeply because when the person breathes deeply, they don't have mind for anything else. So that breaks them out, a cycle. And coincidentally, if people are feeling really crappy or sad, they just need to take 3, 5, 10 deep breaths, think something else happy. And if they do that, every time that emotion comes up, that feeling comes up, within a day, they can overcome that grief or that sadness, or even a couple hours. So when breathing, it involves the entirety of the body. It doesn't allow the mind, the body to think of anything else. It's just breathing. So
Right.
break that thing, cycle out.
In, out, just like waves kind of coming back and forth.
Yep.
know. Yeah, I've, little disclosure. Yeah, I've definitely had my good moments in our group meditations. And I've also had, what is this? And I kind of just dip out, as soon as we're done. And so, yeah, those things come up. And then you just, whether you're in the group or you're by yourself, you just work on it. But I'm grateful that they come up, because it doesn't do anybody any good when they're just stored and bottled up inside of us. And I work with people a lot. I work with students. I'm an educator. So as I work on that stuff, that helps clear that energy, whether it's negative or positive. It helps keep me in balance as I go through my daily activities. So, a lot of gratitude to you for setting up these meditation sessions. And, I'm sure a lot of people, hopefully after hearing this or however they discover your platform, can find benefit from using this.
Yeah. Meditation, the way it's been, they say it's easy. No, meditation is hard. It's, for one thing, what is meditation? If you don't know what meditation is, what are you doing, right?
Right.
I'm meditating. Well, for what? So the first thing that people, I would say, is think what really is meditation, what it means to you. It means, I figure this out in my book, and it's how to synchronize my vibrations to that of the universe. So if there's a universe consciousness and I'm part of the system, I want to tap into this consciousness. So in order to tap into something, you need to vibrate on the same wavelength, right? So that's my meditation. So when I sit down, that's my focus.
Synchronizing with the universe.
Yeah, and how do I do that? Well, that's just technique, right? But the overall purpose is that. So when people sit down and to meditate, if they can't answer that, then a lot of what they do is, I would just say it takes them longer to get the results. They will get some results, benefits, but to reach to a certain place that where they want to go, I think that's the good step, first step. And meditation is just the practice. That's also the theory behind it. So once you get into it, you have to read a lot,
Right.
find information, and be discerning what is good and what is just repetition from copy and paste.
I know, we're just constantly bombarded with information these days. It's hard, for people to wake up and not be glued to their phone. It's like, oh, what's a daily download? So meditation could help them discern, the right information, or maybe even just adjust their routine and how they absorb information.
Yeah. One thing I want to say is meditation slows things down and allows you to focus, right? So every time you enter and exit, when you exit, it's starting anew. It's like seeing the world again. You want to continue doing the things that you do, it's fine, but you have to start it again. So it's a break. It's a break from that routine, right? But after cultivating the practice for a while and then learning the theory, and there's a lot of stuff, my personal thing is, if you can cultivate personal power, then I think you would need 80% there. Personal power is the ability to resist internal urges and external pressures, right? Urges is that voice that tell you to do things that make you want to go to the bar or pick up a cigarette.
Go get a donut and coffee.
Yeah, that's internal urges, right? Habits.
Yeah.
Right? And external influences, Instagram, dressing the same way, getting a car, getting a big thing. You know, it's just all this commercial stuff, and those are pretty insidious.
Oh,
Meaning they know they won't get the first time, but they bombard you with 10, 15 times.
yeah.
Your decision making is going to be, when you think about it, that product is going to be the first on the list. So,
And then you're not really yourself after being consumed in that type of content.
indeed, right? So it's then, you know, how do you do that? You know what it is. You just start tossing things that are really influencing you in
Yeah.
a very way that take a lot of your attention away from yourself, right? So if you can develop personal power, I think your life will be a lot happier. You will find a lot of time and joy in the life and see your life and see that nature and beauty. See a lot more beauty because your brain is not being taken over by all this crap. It can function more normally
Right.
and optimally.
Right. Well, if we were able to impart some tools onto anybody listening that's made it this far, thank you so much for paying attention
talk
all
a
this
lot.
way.
It's changing my career to a comedian. It's not a storyteller with humor bent.
With a humor, with an
Focusing
influx
on
of humor.
Yeah.
I could see that. If we could do maybe a minute of some guided visuals or something, and if you're driving, definitely push pause. Do not do this. Would you be up for doing that?
Sure.
All right. So what should I do, or what should one person do if they're gonna
Well,
do this for the first time?
Well, I have to do it with you.
All right. Okay.
So just sit straight up. You're on the couch. Just sit straight up. If you're walking, find someplace where you just stand and be still. You know, straighten your back, straighten your neck. Keep your chin parallel to the ground. And let's just take a couple deep breaths together. I'll count. Inhale. Exhale. 2, inhale. Exhale. Last inhale. Exhale. Just breathe in and out normally and focus all your attention to the opening of your nostrils. Just feel that cool air entering, warm air exiting. Now let's take 2 more deep breaths, and at the apex of the inhale, we're going to hold it for a brief second, and then we'll exhale. 1, inhale. Hold. Exhale. 2, inhale. Hold. Exhale. Just resume breathing normally. And then just open your eyes slowly and observe the earth. Not too much to it, but I felt like a different person when I opened my eyes and seeing you again.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not too difficult.
Not at all. It's just doing the things that we know what to do already. Just now putting some intention behind a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And making the effort to carve time out of your day to, if it's a daily thing, or that could be just so tough. You have, I got all these things. I got to just stop, stop yourself and find that time to do that type of breath work.
Yeah, just set a reminder on your phone and just do it.
It all comes back to technology helping us out.
The easiest thing is, don't talk about doing it. Don't think about doing. You gotta do it to see it. Just like going to the gym. You can't think about going to the gym. You have to go to the gym.
Right.
Right.
I don't know if today's the day to do the gym. And
You just gotta go.
just gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
Throw out the mental noise and buckle in and get yourself to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think your body, your future self will thank your current self for helping it to maintain
And your
some
past
sanity.
self.
Yeah. This is, all right, last comment.
Last little story.
Last little story. And so our eyes, we experience things in linear fashion, right? Because we think that time is linear,
Right.
right? So we're processing things. But our mind, the thing that is not processing in linear, there is no time component in our mind.
Right.
That's why we process current events with experiences from 20 years ago, right?
That timestamp.
Yeah, so when you have this timelessness trying to process linear things that mind doesn't know about time.
Right.
And so sometimes that's why people act out, or, they call it ambush or shadow ambushing, in Jungian psychology, ambushing the thing because you don't pay attention to it. So it's pretty hard to go through life that, a thing that can be 20 years old and processing stuff that's happening now. Not the same event that we're doing it. So meditation will allow that for you to, for this 20-year-old self, give you a lot of time between when it start processing its current event.
Oh.
Right? It slows it down, allows you to react, to see things. And so I would say, that's how part of, it just gives you more time to think what you're going to do, react,
Does it reverse aging?
It can.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, meditation can change your DNA.
Wow.
If trauma can reprogram a DNA. So that means that...
So you're unwinding that
Yeah.
experience.
And a lot of time, stress is the thing that causes aging, right? And accelerate the shortening of the telomere. Meditation actually slows down the aging.
Wow.
Yeah, so sometimes you see people who meditate, you can't tell how old they are, or they look pretty young or innocent. It's because they remove a lot of the stress
Right.
from their lives.
That's why you seem so youthful.
Just the shaving off, chopping off, the Fu Manchu.
Well, Quang-Vu, that was a pleasure to have you on this first episode, Into the Torus. The book, Forever Unfolding from the Heart, Quang-Vu Dang, on Amazon, right?
On Amazon, maybe other places, but I don't know.
Yeah, I got through the beginning. I'm definitely, after our chat, I wanna do a deeper dive and let it all sink in, and then most importantly of all, sanehood.com, www.sanehood.com. Try it out on whatever device you have. I'm sure that is going to help find that, create some bugs for them to find as they get this product launched, and sign up for an account and register. And if you don't have a device, go find your local library or some type of device with a camera in it, or maybe some Sanehood centers will be popping up in the near future. Where,
maybe, I hope so.
Like right next to the Burger King, you can drive through and connect and get some feedback on your mindful practice. But
yeah, I think thanks, Alex, for having me on. I really appreciate it. And if you're watching this, right, just give it a try. You want to remember, this is groundbreaking technology. Nothing has, at least
you haven't found anything like it.
Yeah, and it works. I tried it, and sometimes the meditation my session feels like a minute or two, and it's like, whoa, 18 minutes. And I knew I entered flow state.
That's amazing.
And then I look at the data. I did enter flow state.
Wow.
So, personal experience, it works, but just don't give up on the platform. We're building it out, and the core functionality is there, right?
Yeah.
If you're a meditator and you want to know how well you're doing this time and over time, do it, and it'll keep track of your score, and it'll score you the same way.
And before you know it, you might have a full Bitcoin.
Well, we're not using Bitcoin. We're using either Ethereum, or since they switch over to proof of stake, that costs a lot less, or Binance, which is used in other parts of the world, because we want other parts of the world to use this.
Yeah. So there's going to be a return for people that really put their time in with it.
Yeah, if you start early, you use our platform early, we're going to distribute a certain amount today. If you're the only person on the platform, you're going to earn all of it. Right? So the sooner that you do it, don't worry, we're keeping track. Even though the smart contract is not there, but keeping track for score and the session. So when we implement it, we'll shoot it out.
That's so exciting. Well, anything else you want to share with the listeners?
Maybe 6 months to a year, I might be doing some stand-up comedy, or just,
that might be the next time we have you on, if you're down to join us again.
Yeah, I'm totally down. So that's my focus for 2023 is how to become more effective speaker with a thing. And I think something I've been wanting to do for like 30 years. So I'm gonna
30 years.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I love comedies, and you have a great energy field around you. You're in the Torus. Thanks again so much for being on here. And sanehood.com. Check that out.
Well, congratulations on your first episode of your new venture. I can't wait.
One episode in the can. Yeah.
There you go.
Boom. All right, man. Well, thanks again, Quang-Vu. Talk to you soon.
Talk soon.